I need to say something that might make you uncomfortable. You love writing. You love the craft. You love disappearing into a story, finding the perfect sentence, creating something from nothing. That is beautiful. That is why you started. But it is also why you are stuck. Because somewhere along the way, you decided that loving the art meant you could ignore the business. You told yourself that if the work was good enough, it would find its audience. That marketing was for sellouts. That thinking about money was beneath you. And now you are wondering why your brilliant book is sitting at 200 sales, while someone with half your talent is making 6 figures. Welcome back to Unseen Author Journeys. In episode 5, we talked about what authors actually earn. In episode 6, we talked about building income beyond the book. Today, we are going deeper. Because before you can build workshops, courses, speaking careers, or consulting practices, you need to rewire something more fundamental. Your identity. Today, we are talking about the mindset shift that separates authors who survive from authors who thrive. This is the episode where we stop being artists and start being entrepreneurs. And if that sentence made you cringe, this episode is especially for you. Let me describe a pattern I see constantly. Someone writes a book, they pour years into it. They revise it dozens of times. They get it published, whether traditionally or independently. And then they wait. They wait for readers to discover it. They wait for word of mouth to spread. They wait for the algorithm to bless them. They wait for lightning to strike. Months pass, sales trickle, and they conclude that the market does not appreciate good writing, that readers are shallow, that the system is broken. Maybe they write another book, same process, same result. After a few years, they either quit or accept that writing will never pay the bills. They keep their day job, they write on weekends, they tell themselves this is just how it is for artists. Here is what they never consider. The problem was not their writing. The problem was not the market. The problem was not the system. The problem was their identity. They thought of themselves as artists, and artists create. They do not sell. So they never learned to sell. They never learned to position their work. They never learned to build an audience. They never learned to communicate the value of what they made. They assumed the work would speak for itself. It does not. It never has. It never will. The best book in the world, sitting in a drawer, changes no one. The best book in the world, with no marketing, reaches no one. Your art only matters if it finds its audience. And finding an audience is not art, it is business. Where does this artist identity come from? It comes from a myth, a very seductive, very destructive myth. The myth goes like this. True artists do not think about money. They create for the love of creation. They follow their muse wherever it leads. Commerce corrupts art. Success, especially financial success, is suspicious. Real artists struggle. Real artists suffer. Real artists are discovered after they die. This myth is everywhere. It is in the stories we tell about Van Gogh, who sold one painting in his lifetime. It is in the image of the starving poet in the garret. It is in every film about a misunderstood genius who dies penniless and is celebrated posthumously. And it is complete nonsense. You know who was not a starving artist? Shakespeare. He was a shareholder in the Globe Theatre. He bought the second largest house in Stratford. He died wealthy. You know who else was not a starving artist? Dickens. He was a media empire unto himself. Serialized novels, speaking tours, theatrical performances. He understood audience engagement better than most modern marketers. Jane Austen negotiated her own publishing contracts. Mark Twain went on lecture circuits. Hemingway cultivated his personal brand relentlessly. The artists we remember as pure creators were, almost without exception, savvy business people. The romantic myth of the suffering artist is a 20th century invention, mostly perpetuated by people who benefit from artists not understanding their own value. Publishers benefit when authors do not negotiate. Agents benefit when authors do not understand contracts. Platforms benefit when creators do not know their worth. The myth keeps you passive, it keeps you waiting, it keeps you hoping someone else will handle the business so you can stay pure. But no one is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. And that starts with killing the myth. So, what does it mean to think like an entrepreneur? It does not mean becoming someone you are not. It does not mean abandoning your creative principles. It does not mean writing to market trends you do not care about. It means taking responsibility for outcomes, not just inputs. Let me explain the difference. An artist focuses on inputs. Did I write today? Did I hit my word count? Did I finish the manuscript? Did I revise it enough times? These are all inputs. They are actions you control. An entrepreneur focuses on outcomes. Did anyone read what I wrote? Did it reach the people who needed it? Did it change anything? Did it generate value, whether financial, reputational, or relational? Outcomes require you to engage with the world outside your writing room. And that is uncomfortable. Because the world outside your writing room does not care how hard you worked. It does not care how many drafts you wrote. It does not care how much you suffered for your art. The world cares about one thing. What is in it for me? That sounds harsh, but it is also liberating. Because once you accept that, you stop expecting the world to reward your effort. You start focusing on creating value that the world actually wants. And paradoxically, that is when your work starts reaching more people. Let me give you 5 specific mindset shifts that separate the artist mindset from the entrepreneur mindset. These are not personality changes, they are perspective changes. You can make all 5 of these shifts and still be the same person, still love the craft, still care about quality, still write the books only you can write. But you will approach the business side completely differently. Shift number 1. From hoping to be discovered to building to be found. The artist waits for discovery. Someone will find my work. Someone will recognize my genius. The right reader, agent, or editor will stumble across me. The entrepreneur builds systems, search optimization, email lists, content that attracts ideal readers, partnerships that expand reach. Discovery is passive, building is active. The entrepreneur does not hope, the entrepreneur architects. Shift number 2. From selling is shameful to serving is essential. The artist avoids selling because it feels manipulative. It feels like tricking people into buying something they do not need. The entrepreneur reframes selling as serving. If my book can help someone, and I do not tell them about it, I am withholding help. Marketing is not manipulation. Marketing is connection. The reader who needs your book but never finds it loses. You lose. Everyone loses. Telling people about your work is not arrogance, it is service. Shift number 3. From one book at a time to portfolio thinking. The artist pours everything into one project. All their hopes, all their identity, all their self-worth rides on this single book. The entrepreneur thinks in portfolios. This book is one asset among many. Some will succeed, some will fail. The goal is to build a body of work over time, knowing that each piece compounds on the others. One book is a lottery ticket. 10 books is a business. Shift number 4. From time is for creating to time is for allocating. The artist believes all time should be spent writing. Any time spent on marketing, networking, or business feels like time stolen from the real work. The entrepreneur allocates time strategically, maybe 60% creating, 20% marketing, 20% learning, and connecting. The exact percentages vary, but the principle is clear. Writing is necessary, but not sufficient. If you spend 100% of your time writing and 0% building an audience, you will have a lot of books no one reads. Shift number 5. From my worth is my work to my worth is my value to others. This is the deepest shift. The artist ties their identity to their output. I am my book. If my book fails, I fail. If my book is rejected, I am rejected. The entrepreneur separates identity from output. My book is something I made. It is not who I am. I create value for others through my work, my expertise, my perspective. The book is one vehicle for that value. Workshops are another. Courses are another. Each is a different way of serving the same audience. When you make this shift, rejection stops hurting so much. A book that does not sell is data, not a death sentence. A strategy that fails is a lesson, not a referendum on your worth. These 5 shifts will transform how you approach your career, not because they change who you are, but because they change how you see the game. I know what some of you are thinking. This is not what I signed up for. I became a writer because I love writing. I do not want to be a marketer. I do not want to be a business person. I just want to create. I hear you. I really do. And here is what I want you to understand. You can have a writing life where you just write, but you probably cannot have a writing career where you just write. Those are 2 different things. A writing life is personal. It is between you and the page. You write because it fulfills you. Whether anyone reads it is secondary. You have a day job that pays the bills and you write for love. That is a beautiful, valid choice. A writing career is professional. It means your writing supports your life. It means readers, revenue, and rich matter because they determine whether you get to keep doing this. If you want a career, you need to build the business side. If you just want a life, you do not. But be honest with yourself about which one you want is less than #0. 5# is greater than, because a lot of authors say they just want to write, but they also want to quit their day job. They also want thousands of readers. They also want to make a living from their words. Those outcomes require business skills. You cannot wish your way to financial independence through writing. You have to build your way there. And building requires entrepreneurial thinking. Here is something I have noticed. Many authors know, intellectually, that they need to treat writing like a business. They have read the articles, they have listened to the podcasts, they understand the logic, but they do not do it. And when I ask why, it usually comes down to permission. They do not feel they have permission to charge money for their expertise. They do not feel they have permission to promote themselves. They do not feel they have permission to call themselves an entrepreneur. The word entrepreneur feels like it belongs to someone else, someone more confident, someone more business-minded, someone who went to business school or started a tech company. Writing does not feel like entrepreneurship. It feels like art, and art feels separate from commerce. So they wait for permission. They wait for an agent to validate them. They wait for a publisher to choose them. They wait for readers to find them. They wait for someone, anyone, to tell them it is okay to treat this like a business. Here is your permission. You are allowed to charge for your work. You are allowed to promote your book. You are allowed to build income streams. You are allowed to think strategically. You are allowed to call yourself an entrepreneur. No one else is going to give you this permission. You have to give it to yourself. Let me reframe something that trips up a lot of authors. When you market your book, you are not selling paper and ink. You are not even selling words on a page. You are selling a transformation. Every book promises a transformation. A thriller promises to take you from bored to breathless. A romance promises to take you from lonely to believing in love. A business book promises to take you from confused to capable. A memoir promises to take you from disconnected to understood. Your book is a vehicle for change. When you understand this, marketing stops feeling sleazy. You are not pushing a product, you are offering an experience. You are not manipulating people. You are inviting them on a journey. You're not bragging, you're helping them find what they are looking for. The reader who discovers your book and finishes it transformed, that reader is grateful. They are not annoyed that you marketed to them. They are glad you did. Marketing is matchmaking. You are trying to connect the right readers with the right book. Your job is to be visible enough that the people who need your work can find it. That is not shameful, that is service. Let me get specific about the business decisions authors tend to avoid. These are the questions that make artists uncomfortable, but entrepreneurs answer without hesitation. Question 1. Who is my ideal reader? Artists resist this question because it feels limiting. My book is for everyone. I do not want to exclude anyone, but books for everyone reach no one. The entrepreneur gets specific. My ideal reader is a 35-year-old professional woman going through a career transition who reads literary fiction with strong female protagonists and discovers books through Instagram recommendations. Specificity is not limitation. Specificity is focus. Question 2. What is my book's positioning? Artists resist this because it feels reductive. My book is unique. It cannot be compared to anything else. But readers navigate by comparison. They need to know where your book fits in the landscape they already understand. The entrepreneur positions clearly. It is like this popular book meets that popular book, but with this unique twist. Positioning is not selling out. Positioning is communication. Question 3. What is my revenue goal? Artists resist this because it feels mercenary. I do not write for money. But without a revenue goal, you cannot make strategic decisions. You do not know whether to invest in advertising. You do not know whether a speaking engagement is worth your time. You do not know when to say yes and when to say no. The entrepreneur sets a number. This year, I want to earn £20,000 from my writing. That breaks down to this many book sales, this many course students, this many speaking engagements. Revenue goals are not greed. Revenue goals are clarity. Question 4. What is my time worth? Artists resist this because time feels infinite. I will just work harder. I will just do more. But time is finite. Every hour spent on one thing is an hour not spent on something else. The entrepreneur calculates. If my revenue goal is £20,000 and I have 1,000 hours available for work, my time is worth £20 per hour. Any task I can outsource for less than £20 per hour, I should outsource. Knowing your time value is not cold, it is strategic. Question 5. What am I willing to stop doing? This might be the hardest one. Artists want to do everything. Every opportunity feels precious. Every invitation feels like validation. The entrepreneur subtracts. What is not working? What is draining time without returning value? What should I stop doing so I can focus on what matters? Sometimes the most entrepreneurial thing you can do is quit something. Here is where it gets practical. Entrepreneurial thinking is not just about mindset. It is about systems. A system is a repeatable process that produces consistent results. Artists work in bursts. Inspiration strikes. They create in a frenzy, then nothing for weeks. Entrepreneurs build systems. They create processes that work whether they feel inspired or not. They design their business to function predictably. What does this look like for an author? A writing system, same time every day, same number of words, same process for revision. You do not wait for inspiration, you show up and do the work. A marketing system. Every book launch follows the same template. Email sequence, social media posts, outreach to reviewers. You do not reinvent the wheel each time. A content system. One piece of long-form content per week becomes social posts, email newsletters, and podcast episodes. You create once and distribute many times. A financial system. Income tracked monthly. Expenses categorized. Taxes set aside automatically. You know your numbers without having to think about them. Systems are boring. That is the point. Boring systems free up creative energy for the work that actually matters. When your marketing runs on autopilot, you have more mental space for writing. When your finances are organized, you spend less time worrying about money. When your processes are documented, you can delegate or automate. The entrepreneur builds the machine, then the machine does the work. Let me tell you why this mindset shift matters so much. It is not just about making more money, though you probably will. It is about compounding. Every entrepreneurial action you take compounds over time. The email list you build today will sell books for years. The course you create once will generate income repeatedly. The positioning you develop will attract opportunities you cannot predict. The systems you design will free up time that multiplies. Artists work linearly. One book, then another book, then another book. Each starts from zero. Entrepreneurs work exponentially. Each project builds on the last. Each asset creates leverage for the next. Each year is easier than the year before because the foundation keeps growing. This is the real reason to make the mindset shift. Not because business is better than art, not because money is more important than meaning, but because entrepreneurial thinking creates freedom. Freedom to write what you want. Freedom to say no to projects that do not serve you. Freedom to take creative risks because your financial foundation is solid. Freedom to keep doing this for decades instead of burning out in 5 years. The artists who last are the ones who figured out the business. The ones who stayed pure, most of them quit. I want to address marketing directly because it is the biggest sticking point for most authors. You can accept everything else I have said and still resist marketing. So let me offer a reframe that might help. Marketing is not about you. It is about your readers. When you market your book, you are not saying, "Look at me." You are saying, "This might help you." When you build an email list, you are not collecting fans for your ego. You are gathering people who want to hear from you. When you run an advertisement, you are not interrupting strangers. You are reaching people who are actively searching for what you offer. The best marketing does not feel like marketing. It feels like a friend recommending something good. It feels like discovering exactly what you needed. It feels like connection, not manipulation. And that is the kind of marketing you can do authentically. You do not have to become someone you are not. You do not have to use lazy tactics. You do not have to pretend to be something you are not. You just have to show up consistently, share your work generously, and trust that the people who need it will find it. That is permission-based marketing. That is marketing you can live with. Let me bring this together. You started writing because you love the craft. That love is precious. Do not let anything I have said diminish it. But loving the craft is not enough to build a career. You need to pair the artist's heart with the entrepreneur's mind. That means shifting from hoping to be discovered to building to be found. It means reframing selling as serving. It means thinking in portfolios, not single projects. It means allocating time strategically, not just creatively. It means separating your identity from your output. These shifts are not betrayals of your art, they are protections of it. Because the author who understands business gets to keep writing. The author who ignores business usually has to stop. Your creativity deserves a sustainable container. Entrepreneurial thinking builds that container. In episode 5, we talked about what authors earn. In episode 6, we talked about building income beyond the book. Today, we talked about the mindset that makes all of that possible. You are not just a writer anymore. You are a creative entrepreneur, and that is not selling out. That is stepping up. Before I go, one more thing. If you are working on a book right now, or thinking about starting one, I want to recommend something. I have a podcast called The Architect's Method. It is a 14-episode series on vision first writing. The core idea is that most writers fail because they start writing before they can see their complete story. They sit down with an idea, a character, maybe a scene, and hope the rest will reveal itself as they write. Sometimes it does. Most of the time, it does not. The Architect's Method teaches you to visualize your entire story before you write a single word. To build a complete architecture, chapter by chapter, scene by scene, before you type chapter 1. So when you sit down to write, you never face a blank page wondering what comes next, because you already see it. Episode 1 is available now. New episodes drop every Friday. You can find it on Spotify, link in the show notes. If the entrepreneurial mindset is about building your business, the Architect's Method is about building your book. They work together. Thank you for spending this time with me. If today's episode challenged you in a useful way, share it with a writer friend who needs to hear this. And if you have questions about making the mindset shift, my inbox is always open. Until next time, keep creating, keep building, keep showing up. See you in episode 8.